4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Racing World, brought to you by Perspective Group. It's your motorsport podcast show in conjunction with Race Control Magazine.
Well, hi guys, welcome to another edition of Racing World. We're back in the Bambino workshop, you might call it. Bob, just before we get started on the show, not a hell of a lot's happened since I was here last time.
No. I've got to say there is nothing happened with the Bambino at all. But however, I've been out and bought more screwdrivers because somebody commented on there that there wasn't enough screwdrivers here. Or maybe they said there's too many, I can't remember.
Yeah.
So I bought some more screwdivers, some pretty ones.
Looking sharp. Well, eventually we will do a show about the Bambino and its progress.
Don't don't say that. That could be an awful long time. That could be Series 93.
Loads of Kiwis around the world competing in motorsport over the weekend. We've got so much for you in this show, but we thought we'd kick it off straight away with IndyCar. Well, yes, onwards to the IndyCar part of the show today. And Road America, isn't it an amazing venue? 4 miles round, one lap, 4 miles. About a 147, 148 minute lap. It's an extremely long lap, extremely fast corners, challenging uphills, downhills, long sweeping curves, you name it, it's got it. It's a spectator's joy. It's set in a national park in the Wisconsin area, so it's just fantastic. And as JOESF Newgarden said after qualifying, it's a track that IndyCar belongs at, and I think he sums it up very well. And it is a track, it just shows how good these cars are. Of course, tables were to turn for Newgarden during the race, and there's some interesting stats that have come out in relation to all of those sorts of things. Newgarden has led, out of the possible 125 laps of racing that we've had over the last couple of weeks, Newgarden has led 99 of that 125 laps and still not come away with a win. Penske have been leading 3 races, that's Will Power, JOESF, twice, with 4 laps to go, and still not converted a win. We now have two-time winners, with Alex Palou getting his second win today as well. So how'd the race go? Well, it had lots of drama, really, didn't it? But I think one of the most amazing sights was one of the pit stop sequences where 22 of the 25 car field pitted and then exited the pit lane. And look at this vision of the cars. Think of the crews in the pit lane. This is dramatic stuff at its finest, really. And all credit to all of those guys. A little bit of wheel banging, but not much. But just think of the guys working in pit lane. That is an incredibly crowded pit lane. Looking at the race then, well, really, it was JOESF's. He kind of owned it. There was some other leaders that were in amongst there, like Max Chilton, Kevin Magnussen there for a while, which was fantastic on his debut. But they were all out of phase, and eventually the fuel stop cycle played round, and it was always going to be Newgarden, Palou, someone from around that area. And unfortunately for JOESF, with that gearbox issue where the car wouldn't change up, it would only change down. It was just worse and worse and worse for him, and he got swamped by the field at the end of the day, and that's an incredibly hard thing to take. For Alex, it's the complete other extreme. He knows now he's in this championship hunt. Big mover was Dixon, and getting back up to 4th, ran the red tyres in the last part of the race. That was a huge gamble, knowing that the tyre degradation around the circuit was massive, and yet they took the punt. So good credit to him and the team on the number 9 car, Mike Hull, for the strategy. It paid off. Dixon back in the points game. He's still a few points behind, but he's a solid 3rd again, and well within grasp of taking the championship lead somewhere along the line. Don't forget, Mid-Ohio's next, and that's a Dixon track in 2 weeks' time. But for our race winner, it's another big victory for Ganassi. 3 of their cars finished in the top 10, with Ericsson also coming back from a spin, still getting into the top 10. So credit to the Ganassi team, and for our winner, Alex Palou.
Yeah, it was amazing. We had a really good car during the race, and I don't know, HPD did an amazing job because we were able to overtake him before the corner. So super happy, super proud of the Chip Ganassi racing team, and I can't believe it.
And then no matter what way you look at it, you've got to feel extremely sorry for JOESF Newgarden, all the efforts going in there. He kind of looked like he owned this event, really. He was strong on the first day's practice, very, very strong with taking the pole position, the day before yesterday, and then the race today, leading all those laps and then have it come to nothing. It's got to be hard.
So down the front straightaway, as soon as I got to 5th gear, tried to shift to 6th, and it didn't take the selection, so I was stuck in 5th. Was trying to get it up to 6th gear and it wouldn't go. And then I got stuck in 5th in turn 1, and then finally got it to go down, and I just could not get it to upshift after that. So I got down to 1st essentially, just trying to stay out of the mayhem, and just couldn't get the thing to upshift. So I'm not sure what happened. You know, it's obviously disappointing for all of us. But I know we had a great car. We had a good car all day. We were doing everything we needed to, surviving yellows, you know, surviving the fuel game. I felt like our car was a rocket ship. Team Chevy did a great job for us. We had such amazing fuel mileage and good power. So I'm super pleased for all of that. Really, really proud of our team, proud of our partners. Just, I guess it wasn't meant to be again, you know. I think we got fast cars. It's just not working out for some reason right now. So we're going to claw. We'll claw back, believe me. You know, it's just not what I was planning for coming out of this day. I would have liked us to have been a little closer, but what are we, 88? It's just a different challenge for when we go to next week. So, yeah, we'll get after it.
Well, I'm sure JOESF will do just that. He'll get after it, and you cannot rule him out. And they're in good sort of position still in the points. Him and Simon Pagenaud for Team Penske. They're in the game, and there are big points still on the table, so let's not rule that out. As for Dixon, well, it's been a bit of a swing. The last 3 weeks have been a bit up and down, but again, he delivered a 4th place today.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think the last 3 weekends, had we had a little bit of luck go our way, it would have been a totally different kind of outcome in you know, Indy, double at Detroit, you know, with qualifying issues and things like that, and then, you know, the problems we had here. So I don't want to say that we're always having problems, but the last 3 weeks have been tough. So if we can get on a bit of a roll here, have a bit of a smooth time, I think, you know, the number 9 will be in contention, will be strong. But, you know, it's great for the team, you know, obviously to see, you know, Marcus get a win, Palou now with 2 wins. We've had a win, you know, it's big for everybody at Chip Ganassi Racing. A lot of happy faces, which is good to see.
And one that I've become a real fan of right now is Romain Grosjean. He was in there quickest on the first day of practice. He's doing things for Dale Coyne Racing that really haven't been done in many, many years, since maybe the late Justin Wilson. He's putting the car there on a regular basis, and he certainly did that today. This type of track suited him. Phenomenal drive, aggressive, planned, well calculated, and it was just great to see Romain back in the hunt once again.
Hey guys, top 5 in Road America. What a day, what a race. We had some really cool battle out there. It was a wild race, but we really made some good setup change from warm up to the race, and the car felt good. Managed the degradation of tires pretty well, so really pleased with the work of the team, and hopefully more fun races in Mid-Ohio in a couple of weeks.
And then, as I mentioned earlier on, you know, these Ganassi boys, they're all scoring points this year. Marcus Ericsson had a spin in the race. And still managed to get back inside the top 10. It just shows you the level of performance that's coming out of the Ganassi group right now, and everyone at Woodland Drive must be thinking, yes, we're on to this. But that comes from hard work, and that's how you reap the rewards. And that's not taking anything away from Jimmy Johnson. This was always going to be a very hard year for him, but he's starting to creep up the field as well. So good performance from him again today, but importantly, another good, solid performance from Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah, so race here in Road America. I think it was a race which had a bit of everything for us on the 8th car, the 8 Husky Chocolate Honda. Started off well. We were running strongly, making positions, moving up the field, so it was looking really good. But then I did a big driver error out of turn 3 and spun. Couldn't believe it, but yeah, that's what happened. Luckily, the safety crew came out and restarted our car, so we could keep going on the lead lap. And then from then on, you know, it was all about, you know, getting back, and I did some awesome overtakes. The guys did perfect pit stops and strategy, so to get back to P6 there after that spin in the middle of the race was pretty cool. So happy with that, but and great for the team with Alex win.
Well, as Marcus says, it's great for the team, and they play a team game at Ganassi. I've always seen that. I've seen it firsthand. They play a team game. They never point fingers at each other. They take it as a team. They win as a team. They lose as a team, and that's the way you win championships as a team, regardless of which driver it becomes. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out, because I think it could be a nice little Alex Palou, Scott Dixon play out just yet. Another driver that was sort of become a bit of a super sub in the last 2 weekends, he's been with 2 different teams, was Oliver Askew. Great to see him back in the car after all the dramas he had last year, and a good, solid performance for Ed Carpenter Racing today.
Hey everyone, Oliver Askew here. Just finished the race here in Road America for Ed Carpenter Racing in the Direct Supply number 21 car. Honestly, it was a really enjoyable race. Struggled there towards the end with some strategy options that didn't really play out, and then it ended up playing out for us. So we caught a yellow there at the end that helped bunch the field up, and we were on new reds and were able to pass a couple of cars to finish P12. So yeah, very happy about that. And yeah, thank you to Ed Carpenter Racing and everyone for the opportunity.
Well, apart from the return of Oliver Askew for 2 weekends in a row, we also saw a few first-time drivers at this track. One of them, obviously, Kevin Magnussen, and the other, Aaron McLaren entry. And then CODY Ware making his debut. Good, solid performance. A 19th place finish for CODY Ware. Not really a lot known about him. No IndyCar experience as such. Team had very little experience, but a 19th place on debut, that's not too bad.
Man, what an awesome debut here at Road America. Came home P19. Really happy just to race hard all the way to the checkered flag. Got to learn around some great people. Raced hard, learned a lot, trying to figure these things out. So just really couldn't ask for a better day. Thanks to Nurte, ODT, Jailcoin Racing, Rick Ware Racing, and everybody that made the day possible. Just super glad to be here.
Well, there you go, Bob. Another IndyCar round. 2 Kiwis in there. It wasn't bad, was it?
It was a bloody good race. It really was a good race.
I love that 4-mile circuit. Man, that's cool.
Grosjean said, I think, that it reminded him of Spa. And I can understand that. Trees, not exactly Spa, because it would have been cold, wet, raining. It would have been all sorts of other things. But yeah, certainly a great place to be. JOESF Newgarden, it doesn't matter what you think about Penske. Just such a shame. And Scott McLaughlin, I don't know, maybe the euphoria of the first couple of 3 races has suddenly got to him, and he's now realising he's got to work. The talent is still there, no doubt about that.
No
talent is still there. He's just got to learn other things.
It's the realities of IndyCar now, isn't it?
Yeah, people are getting, all those IndyCar drivers are getting their elbows out, and they're starting to get a bit tough on things. So there were good bits and bad bits all the way through. But the good bit was, what a bloody good race. It was a good race.
Bodes well for Mid-Ohio in a couple of weeks. I just think that these are circuits, as JOESF said, these are circuits that an IndyCar was built for.
Yeah, precisely that. IndyCar is either that sort of circuit or an oval.
Yeah.
Not
the street courses.
Street circuit? No. They bring money in from, it's like Formula One. It brings money in from the city. It brings money in from having spectators sitting there. But no, you've got to see those cars, like Spa for Formula One, you've got to see those cars out in the open racing for what they were designed for. Simple as that.
Well, moving on, massive weekend for New Zealanders around the world in motorsport. Not quite sure where we'll start, so we'll go DTM, Liam Lawson,
DTM, the German Touring Car Championship, the Deutsche Tourenwagen Meisterschaft, as it's called, now GT3, effectively.
Yeah, because it's certainly not DTM look of old, is it?
No, going back to his first race in Formula 2, he won the race, his first race, his debut race. Going straight on to DTM, he wins his first race in DTM. Liam Lawson, what a staggering performance. His second race, maybe not so good, but he had 55 kilos of extra ballast on that car, and he was kind of turned around. So I think the second race would have been, equally as impressive. His driving was impressive, but what a good performance from his point of view. Nick Cassidy as well, I've got to say, in Formula E. I tried to watch Formula E from Pueblo,
so did I.
I had it all recorded. Practice 1, practice 2, qualifying, race 1. I lasted 3 laps. I'm sorry. I will, as I've said a dozen times before, I'll support Nick and Mitch and whichever Kiwi else is in that series, but I can't watch it. I just can't watch it.
I'm still a little bit opposed to because of the shape of the cars and the bodywork on the cars, a bit of the biff and bash. It's not,
but I don't know what it is.
It's hard to watch, isn't it? And that circuit wasn't pretty.
No,
really. Nice try,
but
it wasn't pretty.
Wasn't pretty at all. Anyway, congratulations to Nick Cassidy, his first podium, second position in race 2. He crashed in race 1, but so I read. I didn't see it, I've got to say. Good on him.
Just before we leave Liam, isn't it significant that he takes his first DTM win in a Ferrari at Monza?
I know.
How cool's that, eh?
I know.
How cool's that?
When's the last time a Ferrari won at Monza?
Yeah, and in the German Touring Car Series as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, other things that happened, local rally, South Canterbury.
Yep. Hayden Paddon became the New Zealand champion. For the third time, in that rally. I didn't see the rally. I read a little bit about it. There was so much to watch this weekend. I found myself, my arse glued to the chair, to the sofa. By the time you go through all the supercars and then everything else, everybody. Most people watching this will have watched some sort of motorsport over the weekend. Well, I watched the bloody lot, well, except Formula E. I watched everything. Supercars would go to, really. Shane McGill, what a staggering. He would have won 3 out of 3 if they hadn't had the pit stop screw up on the mechanical fault on the rear wheel. Interesting, though, a couple of other teams had the same problem. I wonder if it's something with that circuit with the super soft tyres they were running for the first time this year. I don't know, maybe it's generic to the heat build up because it was hot up there.
Yeah, that's right.
It was 50, 60 degrees track temperature. So I wonder if it was that. But Shane Van Gisbergen, what a superb run. Oh, wonderful.
A lot of talk about Gen 3, and I'm sure that's going to develop, and I think probably in a few shows from now, because I know you're dying at the bit, Mark Fogarty. We'll get you back on the show and you can tell us exactly what it is. Now that you're kind of out of lockdown in Victoria, that means it's safe for us to Zoom call you. So
perhaps
we'll
he knows how to fix up a...
He could work on the Bambino.
Yeah,
we turn that into the supercar. There you go, Gen 3.
We'll call it a Fogs Bambino 500.
Maybe that's something for Murphy at Bathurst. The older generation.
Yeah.
Then I guess moving on to the main topic, Formula One. Where do we start there?
Yeah, Formula One. Where do we start? Well, it was a great race. That's all there is to it. It was a really good race, which is the last thing I expected it to be at Paul Ricard. I echo Martin Brundle's commentary a lot of the time. Those stripes just do my head in.
Yeah,
really
very hard to watch, as a viewer.
It becomes quite hard when they go above the whole thing. Anyway, the stripes are there for a reason. It probably saved a lot of car damage over the weekend. Okay, whatever it was. But Ricard is not the most exciting place to have a race. It is a very good test circuit. That's why people go there. But because it's a good test circuit, it's not necessarily translating to a good race.
But like Barcelona.
But the cars made it a good race. Those who really had a good weekend, well, Max Verstappen for a start. In the end, Perez had in the other Red Bull, they had a fantastic weekend. I think McLaren, they had a good weekend. Lando Norris and Danny Ricciardo, they were racing between themselves and did well. Fernando Alonso, we saw him gradually come back. He's just crept up to the top a little bit there. They're improving that car.
George Russell had a good weekend.
George Russell, he did.
Best result in a Williams for him.
Yeah, he did certainly. And to a certain extent, Vettel. And I suppose you can tail onto that Stroll because he started at the very back. So that car is improving in its speed, and Vettel is certainly improving in its speed. Others who didn't have such a good weekend, Ferrari, what the hell happened there? Somebody punctured their tyres,
they were in the game for a little bit, and then they weren't in the game, and then they really weren't in the game.
In the race, they weren't in the game at all.
No.
I
think Carlos has got the measure of Leclerc at the moment in the inter-team battle.
In many ways, I don't think that's done and dusted yet. I think it's going to change a little bit. Clearly, Sainz has adapted to the car faster than you would think, certainly faster than Ricciardo's adapted to the McLaren. So, I don't know. Who else? Bottas,
Well, I was going to get to the Bottas subject. The argument with the team over the team radio.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but is this just more signs of the fact that this whole contract renewal thing is starting to do his head in as well?
Well, maybe so. Maybe he's just pissed off that he was denied the chance to be on the podium.
Oh, yeah,
and he was kind of playing the team game. But apart from Bottas and apart from Hamilton, it was Mercedes that got it wrong. Mercedes still, to this moment, I was reading about an hour ago, and this is Tuesday after the race when we saw it, Mercedes still don't know where half a second went that Max Verstappen got in front of Lewis Hamilton. They can account for two seconds, but they can't account for the 2.5 seconds. They have got no idea. So that was clearly a screw up by them. Yuki Tsunoda's still struggling, isn't he, with that?
A little bit now.
Well, when you put him in context with Gasly, and
Gasly's shining
doing
right now.
Doing really well. So it was a weekend of ups and downs for lots of people. But once again, like IndyCar, it was a bloody good race. It really was. Yeah. And that's the sort of thing we want to see at the front because things were happening all the time between those two drivers. There was intrigue on if you looked at the times, I mean, I've got 2 or 3 screens open looking at times and all sorts of things. It was an intriguing race. It was an intriguing race on the track as well, as was Formula 2, incidentally. I don't know if anybody saw the main feature race of Formula 2 there, which young Doohan, Jack Doohan won, Mick Doohan's son, he won it. It was in the wet and he drove really well. That was quite a good race at the front. So suddenly, Paul Ricard, what's gone on? They've changed the surface a little bit. They've reprofiled a couple of little corners. I don't know what the difference is, but suddenly the cars are racing with the drivers.
Just hard to watch as a television thing because of all those painted lines and everything. It kind of gives you a bit of a headache. But from a racing point of view, if you're a driver, the only thing that I thought of as a driver is how you get your reference points, like on a normal track. Let's use, say, Silverstone as the example. You know certain landmarks. There are no landmark references, are
really.
there?
No,
you know?
no.
But anyway, it is what it is. They move on to Red Bull Ring now.
They do for a couple of weeks there, so they can relax. It's going to be very strange because the entire Formula One paddock has to wear masks. Nobody else in Austria needs to wear masks. So as soon as they leave the paddock, they take the masks off. COVID masks, of course.
Hey, don't talk to me about masks.
Yeah, no, you're going to Tokyo. You'll find out all about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And, you know, honestly, I don't know who's going to win. I've got no idea who's going to win. I think the maybe the momentum, if there is momentum in motorsport, which I doubt, but whatever momentum there is goes with Red Bull and Max Verstappen.
Yes, it does at the moment.
Perez is looking stronger and stronger when he needs to be. So, yeah, who's going to win? I don't know. I really don't know. Is anybody else going to butt into those 4 cars? Anybody else going to butt into those 2 teams? Well, you know, you could say McLaren. And it's great McLaren finished, you know, off the podium, but 5th, 6th. But they were a minute or nearly a minute behind the leaders. Yeah. Nearly a minute, 55 seconds, I think, in the end, behind. So you could say, yeah, look at the points. They're wonderful. They're beating Ferrari. But all the rest of the teams are just nowhere. They're just nowhere at the moment. So they've really got to do well there. But anyway, I thought the whole weekend was great. I want to say again, Shane Van Gisbergen in Supercars. Good racing. It was very good racing. Lots of leaning on things, lots of people making mistakes. Shane Van Gisbergen, again, his overtaking manoeuvre on Di Pasquale, race 1, where he went down the inside and just muscled his way through. I don't know how Shane does that, but he did it. Yeah. And he'll do it again and again.
And the confidence in the car as well, knowing that the car's going to hold underneath you.
Yeah. So, I mean, this weekend we've got almost the same, no V8 Supercars. We've got almost the same thing again with Formula One and IndyCar because they're all out again.
Week off for IndyCar.
Yes, that's right. Sorry,
there was talk of moving that, but it's not now.
I'm looking at the old calendar and stuff. So, yeah, we've got more to come.
The interesting part, which kind of applies to all of these championships that we talk about here on Racing World, is the fact that we're virtually July now. We're at that halfway point of the seasons for most categories, certainly for IndyCar, pretty close to Formula One, certainly close for Supercar. This is where championships suddenly start to get decided.
That's right. And it's good to see the championship in, let's say, the major Formula IndyCar is so close. I mean, Scott Dixon is not very far away. He's in 3rd position.
Yeah, he's less than a win away now.
Well, he went into that weekend 36 points behind and he's come out 50-something.
Behind,
whatever it is. So he is behind first place. His teammate's in first place, which is quite amazing for him.
Chip likes winners.
So, yeah, it would be good to see the Scott come up a little bit. And, you know, I'd like to see the Penske guys come up and make the competition.
Well, yeah, as I said in the earlier piece on the IndyCar report, of the last 125 laps competed in IndyCar, 99 of them have been led by JOESF Newgarden, and he still hasn't converted a win.
Hasn't won yet.
You know, so there's lots to go.
And plus, look at Romain Grosjean. I mean, he's still out there racing and enjoying himself. But his mate, now and again his mate from Formula One, look, I got it here. Past Formula One. I think he put up a really good fist at that when you think he didn't have
incredibly hard.
Yeah, not pre-race practice anyway. Practice is in the racing weekend. Getting into a car like that, at a track like that, up against those guys all muscling themselves around, I think he did a very good job. I really do. No. And I think if he ever gets another chance, because I think, he's maybe not going to get another chance this year unless there's another stand-in.
I think we'll see both those drivers that were down, Rosenquist and VK. They'll be back, and Askew did a great job as a sub.
That's strange, isn't it? He was really up there all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was just great because I think he got a bit of a tough blow after the crash at Indy last year. But it's just fantastic, And once again, thank you guys for taking the time out of your days to either listen, because I've had a lot of people say that they listen. I guess they're put off by watching us. Yeah, but you can watch us too on YouTube.
And then you can see my screwdrivers.
Yeah, exactly. The screwdriver set. And the progress of the Bambina. Or the lack of progress of the Bambina. But that's our supercar for the Bathurst 1000.
Yeah, we're in about year 2050. And send in your suggestions for different size screwdrivers.
Well, just everything that you want to know. We're here to try and help you. Next week, I'm coming from, and we'll hook up with Bob from the Motorsport New Zealand Elite Academy in Otago. So I might have to pack my thermals for down there probably, won't I?
Yeah, I think you will. We always had to every other year.
Yeah, thanks.
Another note on that, it's a shame that Marco Giltrap cannot make it because he was selected to go to the academy this year, the Elite Academy. Obviously, his accident at Taupo has precluded that. That's a bit of a shame. Marco Giltrap, I hope he gets well. He's a budding young driver. He's not the loudest guy out there in terms of yelling his own skill and talent, but he's got skill and talent, and he's going to be a good race driver if and when he comes back soon, I hope.
Yeah, we'll miss you, Marco, but there'll be a lot of other things that we'll be able to bring to you from Otago. And then, yes, as it's been documented with the mask wearing, I'm off to Japan for the Olympics. I'll be catching up with Bob across the entire time. The show won't stop. We'll use that Zoom technology once again. You can go and sit in the Bambino or whatever to connect with me. I'll be in my room, probably with my mask on, and we'll catch up with you on Racing World. Thanks so much once again. I'll see you in about a month's time or so, thereabouts.
I'll be around.
And I'll see you every other week on Zoom anyway.
I'll be mowing the lawns.
Thanks again. We'll see you again soon. Stay safe out there as well.